I am Brittany with the Discover Dairy program, and we are so excited that you are joining us today as we get to meet Farmer Mackenzie and, of course, your adorable calves, Jolene, Oreo, and Snickerdoodle. First, this live chat is part of the Adopt a Cow program. More than 40,000 teachers and 1 million students every year join this fun and free experience thanks to our generous supporters like the American Dairy Association, Mideast, and the Dairy Excellence Foundation. The Adopt a Cow and Discover Dairy programs are free online resources that cover Common Core standards in math, reading, and science, all while using dairy concepts to teach those lessons. The resources can be found at discoverdairy.com, and we'll go ahead and put that in the chat for you so you have easy access to that website. Again, it's discoverdairy.com. We'd also love for you to join the Adopt a Cow Fund next year. So if you're interested in joining again, or you're new to the program and want to join the fund, registration and re-enrollment will open on May 1st. You can simply go to discoverdairy.com/adopt, ADOPT, and log in and re-enroll. So if you're in the program this year, you just have to simply log in and click re-enroll. Or if you're new, create an account and then enroll. Next, as everyone continues to join us live today, you'll see that that chat feature is enabled. Please feel free to go ahead and use that chat feature, comment, and ask questions all throughout the chat. We do just ask that you keep those questions and comments related to the chat and school appropriate. We are really excited to hear your questions, and I know Farmer Mackenzie is excited to answer them. And before we go over to Farmer Mackenzie and your calves, let's just see who is joining us today. So we've got a bunch of classes joining us today. Let's see who our first one was. We've got STEM Elementary in Reynoldsburg, Ohio. So welcome. We're excited to have you. We've got Mrs. Brock's class in Holland, Ohio. We have Mrs. Hauser's class in Euclid, I believe, Ohio. We've got Mrs. Hilty's first grade class from Vienna, Ohio. Welcome all. Good morning. We've got Sylvia Millette Kindergarten in Crum, West Virginia. So hello, some folks from West Virginia are joining us today too. We have Urbana Elementary in Urbana, Ohio. And let's jump down here a little bit further. Mrs. Ayer's class in Raleigh County, West Virginia. So hello and welcome. And let's do one or two more down here. We've got Mrs. Lloyd's, Mrs. Moffett, Mrs. Rumberger, and Mrs. LaGrosse's classes at Cross Creek Elementary in Wintersville, Ohio. So hello to all of you. Thank you for joining us all together. And down further, one more, North Olmsted, Ohio. Some folks, Miss Fry from Northsted, Ohio. So hello, welcome all. We're excited to have you. Continue letting us know where you're from. We're excited to hear from you. And without further ado, I am so excited to introduce you to Farmer Mackenzie. Hey, Farmer Mackenzie, how are you doing today?
Good morning, Brittany. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm doing really well. It's a little rainy here in Northeast Ohio, but we're all surviving. Just really
Awesome.
wish the sun would come out a couple of these days,
Right?
But
Oh my goodness. We are so excited to
really
be here with
excited.
you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep, we're just really excited to see you and be with you. And it looks like our ladies are hanging out with you. So I'll let you take it away and tell us about you and your farm.
Sure. So, like Brittany said, my name is Mackenzie. I am actually a sixth generation dairy farmer. I am in a partnership with my father, Bill, my younger brother, Spencer, and my youngest brother, Dawson. So there's four of us here that are managers and owners. We have 30 employees on our dairy farm. We are now milking about 1,700 Holsteins, which is
Wow.
quite a bit of cows. We milk them 3 times a day. Everything that we grow and harvest in the fields comes back to the cows. So I think that's a really cool perk that we have, that we're able to do that and have the manpower.
Yeah.
We have two groups of people that are milking the cows. We have a group of people that feed all the babies or all the heifers, the female cows. Then we have a group that is kind of on the crop side. They work on mechanics. They help harvest the crops too. So we've got quite a lot of people that we can manage, and we have a really good crew here that stays at the task at hand and gets jobs done. So,
Well,
so
when you've got
behind me,
1,700 cows, you need a heck of a team to take care of
yeah,
all of them, right?
Yeah, of course. And everybody's been great. There's quite a few people that have been part of the farm for over 20 years. So we're really thankful that they stick with us and everybody's family around here. So we're
Yeah,
really thankful for them.
absolutely.
So right behind me, I'm sure everyone has seen the
Oh,
Adopt-A-Cows. You have Jolene 1306 on the left,
hi,
Snickerdoodle.
Jolene.
Snickerdoodle's being a little bully to Jolene there in the middle.
Oh my goodness. Look at you guys. Those
And
two kind
then,
of look like twins on their face. Their faces are
yeah,
very similar.
yeah. And then Oreo's over here on the end. So in their cycle of life right now, they were actually at a barn off-site the farm. We brought them back yesterday, actually to where they were born. We are in the maternity pen right now, so it's kind of cool that we got to bring them back here. But as you
Wow.
can see, when they were born, they were about 100 pounds, and
Mhm.
they have grown very tall and very big in 7 months.
Oh
So
my goodness. So about how big and tall is that, Farmer Mackenzie?
I think Oreo and Snickerdoodle, they could be pushing 500.
Oh my goodness.
Jolene's a few days younger than them. She looks a little bit smaller, but I think they're pushing 500 right now. So
Wow.
a 400
500
pound gain is
Oh,
a pretty big
yeah.
deal.
Wow, in just 7 months. Now, is that pretty typical for a dairy cow? Do they grow that fast at a young age?
Yes, we like to see like a 2 pound gain every day. So
Okay.
they pack on that weight and they grow really tall. They'll get a few more inches taller than this when they're full grown, but they will put on quite a bit more weight.
Okay.
Full grown, a 2-year-old heifer would be about 1,200 pounds.
Wow. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. So they have a lot of growing to do yet. Now we said they're about 500 pounds or so, maybe a little less for Jolene. About how tall are they? So maybe like how tall are you in comparison to help us know, how tall they are?
So I'm 5'5". I'd say about, I don't know, 50 inches.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably about right. They are getting really big. Now they're hanging out here. You said they came back here for today just for us to chat with them. But it looks like they're eating something pretty yummy. It's keeping their attention. What do we have in that feed trough in front of them?
So at 6 months, we start them on a TMR diet. A TMR stands for total mixed ration, and it's just a fancy word for salad, a cow salad. So there's different ingredients inside of it. Um, at that 6 month age, we only put in triticale, which is a type of grass and a grain. So there's only two ingredients, but it's a pretty good way to start them on this forage as they transition, as they get older and transition into different groups.
Yeah. So as they get older, then does their diet change into different TMRs?
Yes, so we work with a nutritionist that comes to our dairy farm every month, and he looks at how much milk we're producing. He actually looks at the manure because you can tell a few signs on their health, whether it's loose or solid, which is kind of gross, but it's really a good way to tell like the health of a cow. So he comes in
Yeah.
and he looks at that sort of thing. Looks at all of our forages. We do a lot of testing to check the nutrients, if
Hmm.
it's wet or dry. Then he creates a recipe for us to mix in the mixer truck, and the cows will get a big component of haylage, grasslage, corn silage, grain. They'll do ground corn, ground soybean meal. So there's a lot of components that go into the older milking cows. But these heifers, they get about 3 or 4 ingredients after they transition from the group that the adopted cows are in.
Wow. So it's a real important science. Make sure these cows are getting the exact nutrients that they need so they can grow big and strong. So we went over what they're eating. Do you know about how much they eat a day at this age?
At this age, they're eating about 65 pounds of feed, which
Wow.
is a lot. I couldn't fit that in my stomach if I tried.
No, me neither. That's insane. Jolene was giving us a little tongue show there. She's getting curious about you guys in the pen. I love that. We have a lot of great questions coming in, Farmer Mackenzie. So if you're ready for some questions from our classes, I'm happy to relay them to you.
Sure.
Awesome. So we have one. This is a good question for you, actually. This is from Miss Snow. They were wondering, is your job challenging or do you enjoy it?
I really enjoy my job. Like any job, it can be challenging. We're
Sure.
faced with a lot of challenges with the weather. You can't really control when it's raining,
Mhm.
when it's snowing, when it's cold. But I really like working with our employees and I like working alongside my family. We're learning more about each other as we grow professionally. So I
That's
like
cool.
working with the cows as well. I'm more on the baby calf side, the heifer side. So it's
Oh.
it's really nice to be a part of that and work with animals.
That's cool. Awesome. We've had a couple of questions coming in, one from Mrs. Ford's class and one from Mrs. Sprague. They're just asking about milk in general. So first of all, when will these cows, our adopted calves, start producing milk and join the milking herd?
I don't know if you've noticed me saying heifer and cow. So
Mhm.
on our dairy farm, we keep the female cows. So when they're born, that's when we call them a calf. In their teenage years, we call them a heifer. And at about 2 years old is when they will have their first baby. And when they start producing milk, that is when we start calling them a cow. So
Oh.
these adopted cows, Jolene, Oreo, and Snickerdoodle, will move to a new barn or a group 4 more times. After that fourth move, we will consider them ready to be pregnant. Uh, Takes about 9 months for a
Mhm.
heifer to have a baby. So at that 2 years mark, she will join the milking herd and start producing milk.
That's awesome. Now, 2 years might sound young to us, but if I'm correct in saying this, a 2-year-old heifer or cow is about a 20-year-old human. Is that correct? They kind of move much faster than we do as humans.
Yeah, they age pretty quickly. I mean, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around. Well, 7 months ago, she was just a baby, and now
Right.
we're 7 months and she's 500 pounds. So these animals just grow pretty quickly.
Yeah,
But that's
absolutely.
natural for them to be ready to have a baby at 2 years old.
Yeah. So then they have their baby and they start producing milk at that point, and then up until then they just hang out with their friends in the pen here and eat and drink and looks like they're playing a little bit today. But once they do start producing milk, where does the milk go from your farm? And are there any stores that you would know or a brand name that you happen to know that your milk tends to go to?
So we ship to a co-op called Turner Dairy, which is in Pennsylvania, actually. Um, but our milk directly goes to Rothenbuehler Cheese in Middlefield, Ohio, um,
Oh,
closer to Cleveland, I believe it is.
cool.
If that cheese plant would have excess milk or excess product, then we have another dairy called Minerva Dairy. I think it is also cheese and milk. So
Very
I don't
cool.
know of the stores that would be selling it. I can't say that, but
Yeah, no,
if you're in that
absolutely.
area.
That's cool. So it tends to go to cheese more often, or maybe when it's fluid milk, then it goes to Turner Dairy, which that is in Pennsylvania. That's not too far from us here in PA. So they have fantastic milk too. So if you're ever in near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, that's a great place to get some good milk too. Let's see. We've got a question from Miss Smith. They were wondering how the cows got their names.
Well, on our dairy farm, we don't name each and every cow. It's hard for me to
It's a
think of
lot.
3 names. For 1,700 cows, I would run out of names. So for this project, I did a poll on Facebook and kind of asked participants what 3 categories they liked best. I think it was cookies or ice cream names.
Hmm.
I forget the third one. So they voted on it, and then I picked from that category what cookies to name them. But
Aw.
as you can tell, Jolene isn't a cookie name. So if you participated in Adopt a Cow last year and adopted Dolly, or remember hearing about Dolly, she had a baby in September, and I chose to use her baby for Adopt a Cow. So Jolene
Oh,
comes from Dolly.
oh, how fitting with her, with Dolly Parton's one of her famous songs. So very cool. I love that correlation, which makes sense why two of them are cookies and one is special. So I'd be curious if anyone on here is joining us today and happened to adopt Dolly. That's a really neat connection. So it's cool that you got to use her baby for another year.
But if you don't mind,
Um,
I'm gonna
yeah,
continue with those ear tags. So like I said, I
go for it.
can't name each and every cow. Um, our cows are registered, so we do take the name of their father and the name of the mom, and we'll have that on record. But for us to easily identify a cow out in the herd when we're looking for someone specific, we tag them with a yellow tag, and that will have a number on it.
Hmm.
Also on that same side, if you can see her ear, she has a white magnet in her ear. So in
Oh,
our milking parlor, we use a reading system, and when they enter the parlor, their number pops up on a screen. We can see their history on how much milk they've been giving. Um, when our herdsman needs to check anything on a cow, he'll type in that number into the computer. When she goes into the parlor, then she'll be sorted out into a separate pen. So we don't have to go out into the whole group and disturb everyone else just to look for one cow. So it's a really good system to use that, just an awesome technology to have on the farm here. That was kind of one of the jobs growing up that I had to do was go out into the herd and take a paint stick and paint which ones we were going to use for herd check. Which which is another thing that we do every Monday. We have a veterinarian come out for herd health. He checks cows that could be pregnant. If there's any concerns that our herdsman has, he'll bring it forward to the vet. But we do use those magnets to sort out cows into our hospital pen or the
hmm.
palpation rail so we can look at them all separately. So it's a really good tool to have here with this many cows.
Cool. Oh, that's awesome. I love that you guys get to use so much technology to help manage all of your animals, and that helps you have eyes on all of them at all times, which is pretty cool. Thank you for explaining that. I'm sure I know that plenty of people have been curious about the ear tags and just, understanding why. So it was a great explanation. Farmer Mackenzie, I'm just going to let everyone know quick. As soon as all three of the cows are together again, we'll try and pose for a picture. But in the meantime, we'll keep answering questions. But just FYI for everyone that's joining us today, we'll try and get all of them together with Mackenzie. So if you want to grab a picture, if you're on, have Mackenzie on your screen, you want to get your class together, we can get a group picture. But until then, until all of them decide to be friendly again, we'll keep answering some questions. But just FYI, that will be coming in a couple minutes. So another good question. They were wondering so this is from Mrs. Morocco's class. They're wondering if you ever see any relationships with the cows. Like, do you ever see them cuddle or play, or certain ones get along better with others?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, in that first couple minutes of the video, I think it was Snickerdoodle was playing around with Jolene. So they're just trying to have fun with each other. But you can definitely see once they get into a bigger group pen, um, they'll gravitate towards a certain cow or stick with them. They
Hmm.
become buddies. They're with the same age of heifer all through their life and when they get older as cows.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's cute. So they definitely create bonds with each other as they get older a little bit and probably have some friends that are near their age, just like us in school, right? Similar,
Yep.
similar thing. Very cool. We've had a couple of questions come across, just curious about where the boy cows are. So, like you mentioned, when the heifers are born, they're on your farm and you raise them because they're the ones that can produce milk. Do you want to just share about the bull calves a little bit?
Sure. So like I said, we only keep the female cows that are born on the farm, but we do typically see some bull calves born. We right now are selling our bull calves to a buyer that's raising them on his own farm.
Gotcha.
So, so another farmer gets to utilize the cows that are born here. It's not like anything else is happening.
Right.
Um,
Well, and that makes sense, right? You guys specialize in taking care of the females, and there's other farmers that specialize in taking care of the males. It's two very different animals and the way you raise them, because bulls can't ever produce milk and heifers can. So that makes sense that you would specialize in what you're good at. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's really fun too. I get to um, see all those baby calves born and help the guy when he comes and load them up and send them off. And I know that they're going to a really good farm too.
Yeah,
So,
that's awesome. Very cool. Thank you. We have, are we maybe thinking they might be kind of ish in Pittsburgh? Well, it looks like one's might take off on us again. We'll keep waiting. Um, we've got another question come in. They were wondering, this is from James, Mrs. James. They're wondering, do you have robots on your farm or how do you milk the cows? They said they actually saw a robot once and thought it was really cool. So they were just curious how you milk the cows on your farm.
so we don't have robots on the farm. We actually milk in a double 24 parlor, parallel parlor.
Ah,
So side by side, there's 24 cows on this row and 24 cows on this side. So 48 cows at one time can be milked. Um,
wow.
when they come into the parlor, we have a process of cleaning off their teats. We make sure all the sand and debris and manure is off. We add a little bit of soap and then forestrip, which is kind of just activating to let that milk drop down and be ready to be milked. And we put those
Okay.
milkers on. And I know that some people are kind of concerned that it would be painful, but it's an animal that is producing milk and she's ready to give her milk. So when it's
Mhm.
time for that, she's ready. Like she's
Right.
excited to get milked and it doesn't hurt. So there's this little silicone cup that her teat goes into and it slightly
Hmm.
pulsates. It's soft inside. It's like a silicone rubber. So
Hmm.
it's very gentle. There's an
Ah,
automatic detection when she stops letting down all the milk that she has.
hmm.
The machine will fall off on its own. So we don't even have to interfere with that whole process.
Awesome. So it's a very natural, relaxing experience for them. And it only lasts a few minutes, right? Maybe 5, 7 minutes for them to actually be milked.
Yeah, on average, I mean, it could be anywhere from 3 to 5. Of
Hmm.
course, there's cows that produce a lot more, so maybe 7, 8 minutes,
Yeah.
but 3 times a day, I mean, 15, 20 minutes is not that bad. So
Right.
it's not
Yeah.
like they're standing in there all day long. So
Yeah. No,
they
they
they get to come to the
definitely.
parlor, get milked, go back to the pen. They have food access all day long. They usually go straight to the food and eat and replenish their energy and then go take a little nap.
Oh, that sounds like a pretty awesome day. Not working very much either. So we've had some folks wonder, just curious about why a cow is shaped the way they are, like on their head, they kind of have that hump on the top of their head. And they were just curious what that is and is there a reason for it?
No, I can't answer that question.
It's
I
a good
really
question.
don't know the reason why. Of course, naturally, a cow can grow horns. So I can get right above her ear on either side of that little hump is where horns would grow. For our
Ah,
safety of people on our farm, for safety of other cows, for being able to fit into a headlock, we remove those horns so they don't hurt anyone else because they can
hmm.
get very sharp. Some don't grow correctly and could go into their eyes and go back
Yeah,
into their skull. So we have to keep them safe.
yeah, absolutely. Okay,
But no,
that
I
makes
can't
sense.
answer that unless Miss Brittany knows.
I don't have a necessary, I think it's called a pole, is that correct? But other than that,
Yeah.
I think it's just the way their head's shaped. So,
But
which is
funny fact, when they get older, and I think you can tell here on Oreo how her hair is a little spiky. I call
mhm.
it their bangs. When
Ah.
they are older, all of them have a different hairstyle. I swear to you, some are curly, some are fuzzy, some are straight, and I just call them their hair bangs. So
Their hair bangs. That's adorable. I love that. Oh man. Well, with them all at the feed trough here, maybe we can try and get a photo. We can, and if anyone wants to, we've got all three here. Try and grab your photo now while we're chatting through, and hopefully you can get them all there. And it looks like the one in the back is even kind of smiling for us and posing, which is cool. Oh, of course she's gonna hide. We'll hopefully bring her back up, but hopefully you can grab your pictures right around now while we're getting all three of them lined up for you. We had, let's see, another question come in. Oh, this is a good one. They're wondering, this is Bluck's class was wondering if you ever have to help the mommy cows deliver their baby, or do you try to let them do it naturally, or what's that process look like for you as a farmer?
If at all possible, we would like the cow to have her baby naturally, and more times she does. There are instances where we will have to help, but those groups of people that I mentioned, the ones that are taking care of the calves, they monitor this maternity pen every 10, 15 minutes. Right now, we don't have anyone in here getting ready to have a baby, but they're very vigilant on the process. If they see any struggle, if she's been in labor for too long, then we will intervene, but we try not to. It can be a little bit traumatic for the cow, and we want to
Mhm.
make sure that everyone's safe. But there are instances, and sometimes we just have to help pull it out.
Sure, absolutely. And along those lines, we had someone curious about if you've ever had multiple births, like twins or triplets, or is it pretty common mostly just to have one cow, one calf?
It is common to have one calf, but yeah, we have had twins before.
Oh,
So it's kind of really cool to see those come out too.
that's cool.
I haven't, when I've been on the farm, I haven't seen triplets, but I have heard in the past that we have had some. So there's a
That's
chance.
cool. That's cool. We have some folks on here. Obviously, lots of people have adopted each individual one, but they were just curious which one is the oldest, and then the next oldest, and then the youngest of the group of three here in front of us.
So it's kind of backwards. You notice their numbers, 1281, 1287, and 1306. So Snickerdoodle is the oldest. She was born on September 7th. The next day,
Mm.
Oreo was born, so she goes up a couple numbers. Obviously, six numbers apart, and she was born the next day. We had five babies born in between them, so we
Oh my
have we have
goodness.
babies all the time. But yeah, so the lower numbers are older, the higher numbers are younger.
Ah, okay. So the one in front of us here, so that's Oreo, right? Oreo is the youngest.
Jolene is the
Oh, that's
youngest.
Jolene. Okay, sorry, I couldn't
Yep.
read her tag. Oh, there we go. Yep, 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 yep. Awesome. Let's see. We are gonna start wrapping up here, Farmer Mackenzie. These girls have been so much fun to follow this year and get to learn a bunch about them while we were here live with you today. So glad to see that they're happy and healthy and also playing with each other. And maybe we have one little bit of an over frisky one, but hey, she wants her food right now.
Yeah.
She but they've been a lot of fun to follow this year. And Farmer Mackenzie, we talked a little bit about it earlier. Someone had asked just, about your day and things like that. But I'd love to just dive a little bit deeper into why you've chosen this as a career. Why have you chosen to be a dairy farmer? What's your favorite part of being a dairy farmer? And just share that with us because we've heard a lot about it takes a lot of work. But what's your why for doing this every day?
So if you know me, I've kind of changed careers a couple times. I taught in an elementary school, so that's why this program means so much to me. But at the same time, my family is the biggest part of me. And when I realized that there was an opportunity for me to be on this farm and help participate and have a job and a career, I wanted to come back to the farm. So it's been really good to be back and, like I said, get to know my family and learn how
Yeah.
to learn how to work alongside them
Hmm.
and still love each other. I know some days can be pretty hard, but that's why I was so thankful to find out about this Adopt a Cow program because I can take my day to day and help teach others and kids what I do and what it's like to be a dairy farmer. So it's very rewarding too.
Yeah, absolutely. Your passion for education and, of course, your passion for your cows, it's very evident in everything you shared with us today and just all year long about your cows. So thank you so much, Farmer Mackenzie, and to your entire team for taking incredibly good care of not only our adopted calves, but, of course, all of the cows on your farm, and helping us. Letting us enjoy a really good product, right? These cows are producing a very clean, healthy product, milk, and then we get to enjoy it in many forms: ice cream, cheese, yogurt, all kinds of good stuff. Farmer Mackenzie, I'm curious, what's your favorite dairy product?
Oh, ice cream all the way.
Ah,
Just last night I had chocolate peanut butter ice cream, and that's
ah.
that's one of the top, but mint chocolate chip is one of my favorites. But before we do sign off, I wanted to
Yeah.
give a little shout out to Mrs. Swain's class. I think she has kindergarten today in Claymont. which is here in
Oh.
Ohio. So I wanted to say hello to you guys. Thank you for participating. I also wanted to give a shout out. I don't know if they're on live and I can't remember the name, but an autism center gifted one of the adopt-a-cows a herding ball for Christmas. And I just thought that was really sweet. So I wanted to thank you for doing that. And thank you all for all the letters, the pictures. I love reading those. I honestly do read every single one of those. So I really appreciate you guys being a part of this program.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, if you happen to be on, we'd love to have you comment and just say, yes, that was us, because Farmer Mackenzie was very thankful. So that's awesome. I'm so glad you all have shared the love with Farmer Mackenzie and your calves and joined this program. And with that, I hope to see you in the program next year. Registration and re-enrollment is open May 1, so a couple weeks yet until we reopen, but we're excited to have you back with new calves, and it'll be a fun experience. So thank you so much, Farmer Mackenzie. We really loved having you today. We appreciate it. Anything else before we jump off today?
I think that's it. Thank you guys again for joining. It was really good to be a part of this.
Awesome. Thank you so much, all, and we're excited.